I'm live on YouTube. Now we're gonna go live on Facebook as well. We should be live on Facebook and YouTube. Wonderful. Facebook is charging. And now we're gonna also jump live on Instagram. Yes. So we're gonna be live on all possible tools ever. So checking connection, and I'm going live on all our social media. Wonderful. I'm so happy to be here. Today is a great day. We're having so many exciting stuff. And I'm very happy to be hosting this live Q&A on everything you might want to know about now. I'm waiting for our followers to start connecting. I'm going to keep it short today. It's going to be 20, maximum 30 minutes live. I'm going to give you a basic recap of what now is and what we're doing in this wonderful, inclusive project, and guide you through quickly our campaigns, and then try to give you a bit more flavor of what's going on in 2021 with our organization, because I think it might be of interest for many of you, and hopefully many of you will be joining us. So I see that people starting connecting on Facebook. I see on Instagram the first people starting connecting as well. We just finished another live, so I know this one will be less participated, but it's still good to do it. It's still good to keep our tradition of live on Tuesday going. So welcome everybody. I'm Andrea Venza, one of the co-founders of Now. I'm Italian, as you can hear from my accent, 28, and let me tell you a bit more about me while we're waiting for more people to join. Until 4 years ago, I was a very boring person. I was working as a consultant in a private company, nothing exciting. And then around 4 years ago, I started being very interested in politics and social movements. And I first co-founded with Colombe, the other co-founder of Now, and another person called Damian. We co-founded a European political party that went quite well with a lot of successes. And then in January 2020, so like 11 months ago, we launched Now, without knowing that this year would have been one of the most adequate year to do so, one of the most difficult one, but one where it's clear that because of the pandemic we are into, a global movement is dearly needed. So I'm very glad to be speaking to you today, and let's jump into the content. So many new people are joining us. So I want to first of all tell you what is Now. Now is a global movement of citizens, people like you and me, coming together with the idea that the biggest challenges of our time, the biggest opportunities we are facing as a human race, as a planet, can only be harvested if we work together. That's the main concept of Now. It's time to understand that if we want to bring our societies forward, if we want to become something more than what we are right now, we need to work increasingly together across borders, continents, mountains, and oceans. And if we don't do that, not only it's a huge wasted opportunity, but also, on topics like climate, space exploration, pandemic controls, we are all losing out. So it's fundamental that we start working together. And Now, hopefully can provide a platform for this to happen. And hopefully we're going to see more and more global movements coming our way during the years to come. But we wanted to start. And just to tell you a bit more about our history, we started Now on January 1st, 2020. So in the pre-COVID time, as we like to say, at least pre-COVID for most of the world. And with the idea of creating teams, doing actions in the street, pushing forward campaigns, and ensure that there was and there is an opportunity for people to come together across borders. And it worked very well. For 2 months, from January to February, we had teams popping up all over the world, from Africa to Europe to South America. And we saw that people actually really loved the idea of becoming part of a global community. Then COVID came, And so we had to remodulate a lot of our work to be digital. So we had a lot of video conferences, digital events. We did some protesting, some serious protesting. And I'm going to talk about that later, about Hong Kong and the freedom campaign we launched. But still, the majority of our work was sadly online. But hopefully, this will not be the case for a long time. Still for a long time. I hope that in 2021, we're going to drive a big effort to reactivate our local teams, to reactivate our work on the ground, to ensure that actually we go back to be a grassroots local movement that can change things in every city, every country, every continent on this planet. Before continuing, I want to answer Omar question, one of our leading activists from Madrid. How do you think now has changed you as a person? What is the best and the worst part? I think that the main thing that now gave me is the fact that I know that as a European, Europe is not special. Every continent has wonderful things to contribute. Every culture is very fascinating. And I really didn't know that before. Obviously I travel a bit the world. I know as a tourist some stuff, but I was always very focused on my country, which is Italy, and the countries, where I could travel very cheaply too. So mostly Europe. And most of my work was focused in this geography. And then thanks to now, I started understanding that actually, first of all, sadly for all Europeans connected, Europe doesn't matter that much. It's a very small continent, which is not particularly innovative, which is not particularly, trying to change, trying to evolve. While there are continents like Asia, like Africa, like South America, that are really coming, where a lot of energy is there, where people want to have a better future, want to see a better society. And so many energies are convening there. And as a European, it's wonderful to see. Honestly, I broadened my perspective, my mindset tremendously with now. I understood that, the struggle for freedom that is going on in Hong Kong and in Venezuela is as important as the one that might be going, on half an hour from my country or within my country. Because it doesn't matter where we live, but we are all part of an interconnected struggle for better democracy, for gaining more freedom, for defending our human rights. I also learned that, for example, keep on pushing the politicians in my country or in my continent to do more on climate is definitely needed, but it will never be enough. Even if a whole continent like Europe would start polluting, would stop emitting carbon emissions, we wouldn't solve climate change. We have the biggest polluter are actually outside of Europe. So we need to work together with people all over the world to push together a new vision of the future, a new plan, a new agenda. And this is something that I didn't have before now. So I think this is the best thing that now brought to myself. It really broadened my views, and I'm sure there is many volunteers joining us feel the same way. And so Omar is discovering how important it is to go globally. So sorry for this little digression, but going back to what I was saying before, we started now, we went out on the street, then we obviously had to remodulate our work online, but we had huge successes. We had a campaign on climate that is still ongoing, Green December, amazing success, people joining from all over the world, really trying to join forces with small individual actions to tackle climate change and to give a bit of climate hope to the planet. And that's a perfect example of a global community coming together and try to change things. Then we had also a campaign on women's rights. There was just when COVID became very big in March across most of the planet. There was focus on ensuring that more women representatives would be elected in parliaments around the world. The idea was until women don't sit in the corridors of powers, there will not be legislation adequate to the need of women. Discrimination will still be there. equality will not be achieved. And it was a very cool campaign. We brought together tens of politicians from tens of countries around the world. And hopefully we'll be able to restart it once the pandemic is less prominent. Then we did a campaign on access to vaccine, which is a very, very relevant topic right now. And finally, one of probably the biggest campaigns so far, the campaign of freedom, what we call the Wave of Freedom, where we organize protests and stand actions across the planet every Friday to ensure that people like Hong Kongers, but also Belarusians, Venezuelans, and all those oppressed people by authoritarian governments are not left alone, and the international community support them. And hopefully at the G7, the upcoming G7 meeting in this summer in the UK, we'll be able to table a resolution asking major democracies to come together and create a League of Nations, a club of democracies able to end for those in need. This is an overview of what we did in 2020. And now let me tell you just a few words on what we want to achieve in 2021. Because obviously, hopefully the world will look a bit better. Hopefully we're going to have less difficulties in coming together and really take action. And if this happens, we need to be ready. So in 2021, we're going to make a huge effort and now to reactivate communities of volunteers, of members across the planet. That's the first thing and the most important one. As I said, we believe that to impact change, we need to be on the ground. We need to understand different realities. We need to be at the forefront of struggles at the local level, at the national level. And to do so, we're going to really reactivate all our members. We might create a community team to do so. We might do it individually as much as we can. But the idea is by mid-2021, or as soon as a vaccine is actually kind of spread across the population, we are going to have again people coming, meeting from Sweden to Argentina, to Tokyo, to Montreal, to meet, to discuss how to advance our campaigns, how to advance our values, and really feel again this sense of like physical community that we once had and we couldn't continue during the pandemic. So this is a very big aim for us. Another big aim would be the one of creating a big campaign on economic inequalities. So far, we have covered climate change, we have covered women's rights, we have covered freedom and democracy very well. And we feel that for a movement to become more mature and more inclusive, we need to tackle the huge topic of the massive economic inequalities that are coming, that were already there, and that the pandemic has accelerated and increased. So we will definitely work on the topic of economic inequalities with our community of members, with our campaign manager, Laura. We're going to ensure that we're going to create a campaign that can really, really power through the massive economic inequalities that we are living into. And this will come probably in early 2021. We're also gonna really work on increasing our membership and increasing our reach. To do so, we are planning a crowdfunding in early 2021, a big effort where we're gonna ask all of you that follow us to recruit friends, family, and anyone that might be interested in our message, because we really need, our community is already 10,000 people, so we did a good job. But if we want to impact change at a global level, at a global scale, we need way more activists, way more volunteers, way more people with the same passion that many of our members are putting into our everyday work. And so we're going to ask all of you on all social media to help us make this possible, to help us ensuring that wherever you live, if you're the only now member, if you're the only now followers, in 2021, we move the community from 1 to 10 people, from 1 to 20 people, from 20 people to 100 people in 2022. And we start growing this movement because we know that we can impact change. We have learned a lot last year. we really, really grew in our shoes. We know now where to press, where to create public pressures, how to approach decision makers and try to influence their policy agenda, how to give hope to people. What we need is now to grow from the 10,000 people we are to the 100,000, to the million, and ensure that we can bring about this change not only in London, not only in New York, not only in Seattle, not only in Tokyo, but in all the small communities that are around big cities and big countries where we're already present. So this will be a big effort. Probably I'm going to lose some hair in, in the work and my team as well. But this is what is needed. And we will not stop until the now community is not sizable enough, is not big enough to achieve the impact that we want, the one of a global movement pushing for a global vision of society. So these are more or less the plan for 2021. So big campaign on economic inequalities, massive growth, and hopefully, a lot of physical meetings, local gatherings, going back to the streets a lot. And I hope that you guys that are following here, or they might see this live later, might be interested in being part of this project. It doesn't take that much time, many resources. There are many people helping our work with 1 hour per week, $3 per month. And these contributions are making our work possible. Little financial support, a bit of time here and there, printing a flyer when you go to a protest. All of these are enabling people from all over the world to come together and work to impact change on so many different topics: climate, freedom, women's rights, vaccine distributions. It shows that there is a power in bringing people together and advance our shared values together. So I ask you to do the same if you can. If you're interested in our work, if you're interested in what we do, go to our website, become a member, join our forum, get to know other change makers from all over the world. And you'll see that from your individual sofa at home or in the streets, if you can change something. You can be part of an historical project that hopefully, if we are good enough, if we are committed enough, if we don't give up, can really change the way we see the planet, we see the world, we see our society. It's not easy, it's not going to come easy, but no one has said that it is the case. The founding team, me, Colomb, and our first employee, Laura, and hopefully the new employee that is going to join us very soon in January, we're doing our best. We have sacrificed a lot. We work as much as needed, very long hours for very little reward sometimes. But when we see people coming together from all over the world, joining our action, joining our protest, participating, driving campaigns, we understand that there is hope for this planet. And this is the biggest reward you can give to yourself and to us. So please join us, be part of this project, be part of this change, become an ours, become a member of our community, and really, really together, I'm sure we can change the world. And I'm telling you now that I count on you, as Omar said, I'm counting on you, I'm counting on each one of you, because we can do great things with little effort. So come with us. Thank you so much for this time. Before obviously stopping my long tirade, I want to see if there are questions that I didn't answer. So I'm checking on Facebook. So on Instagram, I addressed most of Omar's comments. We had a very long discussion, and I see many other people following. But if you have any question for me, I'm here for you. I'm happy to take any question. I spoke a lot because today is the second live that I'm doing, so I'm a bit out of voice. I wanted to put all the topics out. I'm checking if I see any comment that I might want to address that I didn't address already. But I don't see any, so I'm very happy about this live. I think I communicated my message very clearly. So I want you to join us. I want you to help us and we'll do our best to become a very major global community and change the world together. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Tuesday night, day, morning, depending wherever you are. I see a question from Omar. How do you think I can work in Spain? So Omar, first of all, tonight I'm going to send personally an email to many of our activists to ask if they want to become more active and basically what I explained in this live, to revive the community around them. So, because obviously I don't speak many languages, so it's very difficult for the central team sometimes to reach out to people in each country. So we're going to ask our activists, our most dedicated activists, they want to step up and help us building a community around them, whether in their city, in their country, or in their continent. So the first thing I tell you, if you want to help us increase our presence in Spain, is answer that email. I know you are in our database. Answer that email and let's talk on how to make it happen. Aside from that, as a general suggestion that I always give to all our volunteers, is when you're alone, it's very difficult to make things happen. But if you build a team of like 4 or 5 people, friends that you trust and that share the same values that we all share, you can make things happen. With 5 people, you can organize events. You can start using social media in a coordinated manner to reach new people. You can push our campaigns. Down the line, you can even raise funds. You can do many things if you're not alone. So my 2 tips, especially for our members, and obviously for those that might want to become members, 1, answer to my email that you're going to receive about becoming more active in your community. And 2nd, recruit. Bring people in that you trust, that you like, and everything will be possible. I hope that I answer your question, Omar. I feel this is the right way to start to build a global community. I'm really out of voice, so I'm checking if I missed any question, but I think that we are actually well covered. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your little hearts on Instagram. It's been a big pleasure to speak to you all. And join us, and you're going to see how fun it is. Thank you. Thank you, Omar. Thank you, Yui Gordon. We definitely love Hong Kong. We are doing our best to support it. And we really